Hello and welcome to this video on Does Cronbach's alpha measure unidimensionality? My name is Geiser. I'm an instructor and statistical consultant with QuantFish. In this video, I will address a question that many people have who use Cronbach's alpha, and that is, does a high Cronbach's alpha indicate that the scale is unidimensional? In order to answer that question, let's first of all talk about what Cronbach's alpha actually is. And so then once we have a better understanding of Cronbach's alpha, it'll be easy for us to see how this question can be answered. So how can we describe Cronbach's alpha? Cronbach's alpha can be described as a composite reliability coefficient for tau equivalent measures. So that's a mouthful, and that is maybe a little bit complicated. So let's break that down, and let's first of all talk about what tau equivalent measures are. The tau equivalent measurement model is one that is derived from classical test theory. And so in this measurement model, we have several different observed variables, for example, indicators, items, test score variables, and the idea is that they measure a common factor or common latent variable that is often referred to as a true score variable and therefore indicated as tau. And so in the tau equivalent measurement model, not only do the measures all measure a single factor, meaning they're unidimensional, but also they are assumed to have equal factor loadings, or we could say scale discrimination parameters. So you can see here that all factor loadings on the common true score factor are fixed to 1. And so that is one implication of the model of tau equivalence, that those variables share exactly the same true score variable, or in a more relaxed version of this measurement model, they share the same true score variable up to an additive constant, and then we call that essential tau equivalence. But that doesn't have to interest us, because for the purposes of our discussion here of Cronbach's alpha, it doesn't matter whether you have a tau equivalent measurement model or only an essentially tau equivalent measurement model. Furthermore, in the tau equivalent measurement model, we have error variables epsilon, and they are uncorrelated for different tests. So the error term for example, test 1 does not correlate with the error term for test 2. And then also the error variables by definition are uncorrelated with the true score variable tau. And so under this measurement model, when our variables follow a measurement model like this, then Cronbach's alpha can be used as a composite reliability measure. So what does that mean? So first of all, what does reliability mean? Reliability is defined as the true score variance component, variance tau, divided by the sum of true score variance plus error variance for a given test I. So for example, yi here could be replaced by y1, so the first test, and then epsilon 1 would be replacing epsilon I in this formula, and so we could then calculate the reliability of y1. However, in practice, we are typically more interested in the reliability of the composite or sum of those tests that are unidimensional, because we typically don't want to look at each individual item or subtests, but rather we want to use the entire scale. And so therefore, composite reliability becomes a problem to solve for us. So we want to know what is the reliability of the sum or the reliability of the composite. And that's where Cronbach's alpha comes into play, because Cronbach's alpha is the proper reliability coefficient when you have tau equivalent or essentially tau equivalent measures. So meaning when the measurement model on the left-hand side is appropriate for your test or test items, then Cronbach's alpha provides for a meaningful composite reliability index. And so here's the formula which of course you don't have to memorize or anything, but this is how this works. So alpha allows us to take into account m tests. So m is the total number of tests, in this case 4. And then in the numerator here we have the sum of the variances of those 4 tests. And in the denominator we have the variance of the sum, which is the function not only of the test variances, but also the test covariances. And so then with this formula, we can calculate the reliability of the sum. And that's the whole idea of Cronbach's alpha. So let's take a look at an example before we address the question of whether alpha measures unidimensionality. So here's an example that I calculated using the JASP software, which is a very nice point and click program for confirmatory factor analysis and reliability analysis. And so I fit a single factor model with equal loadings to 4 subscales of a numerical processing speed test, and the model was not rejected. So I did a chi-square test of model fit for my confirmatory factor model with equal loadings and uncorrelated error terms, and the p-value for the chi-square test was 0.77, so the model was not rejected, indicating that a single factor model with equal loadings fits the data well. So tau equivalence here can be assumed for that scale, or at least essential tau equivalence. And so then we can calculate the individual reliabilities, which are called R squared in JASP. And so those individual reliabilities show us that the 4 subscales A through D vary in reliability between about 0.58 and 0.69, which is not super great. However, typically we would be interested in the reliability of the sum or composite. And so therefore I can now calculate Cronbach's alpha because I know that my essential tau equivalence measurement model here is appropriate for these data. And so you can also do that in JASP. And then coefficient alpha here comes out as 0.879. So you can see that's substantially higher than the reliabilities of the individual tests because the composite aggregates the information, and so there's more opportunity for errors of measurement to average out, and then we have a higher reliability of the composite. And so composite reliability of about 0.88 is quite good for 4 subtests. Now let's talk about the question of whether alpha measures unidimensionality. And the answer to this question is no, because alpha can be calculated even when measures are multidimensional. There's nothing that keeps you from using JASP or SPSS or any program for that matter to calculate Cronbach's alpha even when you have a multidimensional scale, because alpha per se does not provide a test of model fit. The test of model fit is provided by a chi-square statistic, and so then that tells us whether a model is unidimensional with equal loadings and uncorrelated error terms or not. To understand that better, let's take a look at an example where we have 2 factors, meaning a multidimensional structure such that we need 2 factors or 2 true score variables, one for y1 and y2 and one for y3 and y4. Of course, this is a different data example because for the previous data example, we saw that a single factor model fit the data well and 2 factors would not be needed. However, for the second example, I chose a data set where 2 factors are needed. And so when I fit a 1-factor model to this 2-factor data set, then the chi-square here did not look very good. It was 178 about, 2 degrees of freedom, a p-value smaller than 0.001. In this case, I did not even constrain the loadings to be equal. So I fit a model with different loadings, but a single factor, and not even that fit. So this shows you that tau equivalence here definitely is not met in this example. These scales are not tau equivalent. And so then when I fit a 2-factor model, the 2-factor model fit these data very well with a chi-square of only 0.165, a p-value of 0.685. So the 2-factor model was not rejected. Now, what happens when we fit or when we calculate Cronbach's alpha for our two-factor model? Another thing that I should mention is that the factors were correlated 0.62, so not very highly, or they weren't close to 1 correlated, indicating that the two-factor model was far from a unidimensional structure. Unidimensional structure would imply that the two factors are correlated 1.0 in the population. So now let's take a look at the Cronbach's alpha estimates for our two-factor solution. And so even though a single factor model doesn't fit, I can still calculate unidimensional reliability. So I can still go ahead in JASP and ask JASP to give me Cronbach's alpha, and it will do so even without any model fit test. So when you go through the reliability option in JASP or SPSS, it'll just simply give you alpha, and it will not tell you that a single factor model doesn't fit these data. So here Cronbach's alpha for a single factor model is 0.829, so quite good, about 83% true score variance in the sum score. And you might think, oh, great, so this indicates there's a great unidimensional scale. However, we saw previously that a two-factor model really is needed to explain these data properly. And so for a two-factor CFA, we can also calculate Cronbach's alpha, but this time for each factor separately. So now factor 1 has an alpha of 0.88, factor 2 has an alpha of about 0.81. Also quite good, respectively. So each factor has a decent composite reliability, even with just two variables. And so that is the proper way here to apply alpha, because this is really a two-dimensional structure, not a unidimensional structure. The total alpha, again, is 0.829, as we saw previously, and that really doesn't make sense here, because you wouldn't aggregate the 4 scores to a single sum score, but rather you would keep them separate because you have 2 separate true score variables here. So in summary, this shows you that alpha per se is not a test of unidimensionality. Even when you find a large alpha value, like in this case 0.83, this does not mean you have a unidimensional scale. In this case, clearly the scale was two-dimensional, and therefore unidimensionality was rejected, and yet alpha would still look good. So really, the way to go is to first fit the measurement model using confirmatory factor analysis, conduct a chi-square test of model fit, which tells you whether unidimensionality is acceptable for your data. And then if unidimensionality with equal loadings and uncorrelated error variables is acceptable for your data, then you can calculate Cronbach's alpha, and then Cronbach's alpha has a meaningful interpretation. I hope you found this video useful to learn more about Cronbach's alpha. My name is Christian Geiser. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.